Welcome back, children. Let us continue with the line-wise paraphrasing of Act 1, Scene 1 from line number 114. Graciano says, "Thanks in faith." He says, "Thank you indeed, for silence is only commendable in a neat's tongue dried. For silence is only praiseworthy in the case of a dried tongue of an ox." Exit Graciano and Lorenzo. So both of them go away. Antonio continues, "Is that anything now?" He says to Bassanio that does it make any sense? Whatever Graciano has been saying, was it making sense? Bassanio, Graciano speaks an infinite deal of nothing. He says Graciano speaks a great deal of nonsense. More than any man in all Venice. He speaks more nonsense than any other man in the whole of Venice. His reasons are as 2 grains of wheat hidden in 2 bushels of chaff. So the speech that he makes, it has only 2 grains of wheat. Over here, wheat means 2 grains of good sense hid in 2 bushels of chaff. Chaff is the covering of the wheat, and here it means of nonsense. You shall seek all day ere you find them. You shall look for those 2 words of good sense the whole day. Ere means before you find them, and when you have them, they are not worth the search. And when you find those 2 things, sensible things that he has spoken, you realize that they were not worthy of all the hard work that you have done in looking for them. So Antonio continues, "Well, tell me now, what lady is the same to whom you swore a secret pilgrimage?" So Antonio asks Bassanio, "Well, Bassanio, tell me now, who is that lady to whom you have sworn to visit secretly?" Secret pilgrimage means visit secretly. "That you today promised to tell me of, about whom you promised to tell me today." Bassanio answers, "'Tis not unknown to you, Antonio." "'Tis means it is." "It is not unknown to you, Antonio," means you know it very well, Antonio, "how much I have disabled mine estate by something showing a more swelling port than my faint means would grant continuance." So you know it, Antonio, that how I have wasted money in a careless way, and by living in a grand style than my modest means of livelihood would allow me to continue. I have lived in a grand style and I have wasted a lot of money. "Nor do I now make moan to be abridged from such a noble rate. But now I am not at all complaining." Make moan means complaining. To be abridged means to be forced to give up from such a noble rate means lordly way of living. So right now I am not complaining that I have to give up this grand style of living. I am not complaining at all. But my chief care is to come fairly off from the great debts wherein my time something too prodigal hath left me gauged. But my chief concern means, but my main worry is to come fairly off means to come out of all my great debts wherein my time something too prodigal hath left me gauge, which in my youth has left. I have been so extravagant. I have been, a prodigal means too extravagant or a person who spends too much. So in my youth I have been a spendthrift, and because of this it has left me gauged means it has left me in heavy debt. I am indebted to many. To you, Antonio, I owe the most, and out of all the people, Antonio, I owe you the most in money and in love. In money as well as in love. I have to return you the maximum money, and I have to return a lot of love that you have shown for me. And from your love I have a warranty to unburden all my plots and purposes, how to get clear of all the debts I owe. So, and from your love means, and because of the love you have for me, I have a warranty, means I have guarantee or I have assurance to unburden all my plots, means to disclose to you all my plots and purposes are all my plans. How to get clear of all the debts I owe means how to free myself from all the debts I am under right now. I pray you, good Bassanio, let me know it. I pray you means I request you, good Bassanio, please tell me it means your plans. And if it stand as you yourself still do within the eye of honor, and if it means your plan, if your plan is as honorable as you are, then be assured, then be sure, my purse, that is all the money I have, my person, my body, my extremist means, that means my utmost resources, lie all unlocked to your occasions. They lie all open to fulfill your needs. They are available for your use. You can use them whenever you want if your plan is honest and honorable like you. Bassanio begins to answer, in my school days when I had lost one shaft is an arrow. So he says, in my school days when I was a young boy, when I lost one arrow, I shot his fellow. I shot another arrow of the self same flight, that is in the same exactly same manner, the self same way, in the same way, with more advised watch, but watching it very carefully this time to find the other fourth. And as a result, I would find both the arrows, even the one which I had lost earlier, I would manage to find it. And by adventuring both, I oft found both. And by adventuring means risking. And by risking both the arrows, I oft means often, found both the arrows. I urge this childhood proof. Urge means offer. I'm offering you this childhood example or this childhood proof. This is experiment, because what follows is pure innocence. Because what I'm going to tell you next is an example of pure innocence. Pure innocence means it is totally harmless. It will not cause harm to anybody. He says, I owe you much. He says, I have to pay you back a lot of money that I have borrowed from you. And like a willful youth and like a self-willed young man, that which I owe is lost. That I have lost everything, all the money that I have borrowed from you, because I was a self-willed young man and I did what pleased me. But if you please to shoot another arrow, that self way which you did shoot the first, but if you shoot another arrow means, but if you give me another loan, that self way means in the same way you did lend me the first loan, you gave me the first loan, I do not doubt, that is, I don't have any doubt, as I will watch the aim, that is, now I will watch the aim carefully, that is, I will spend this money very carefully, or to find both or bring the latter hazard back again. I will try to pay you back both the loans, or if that is not possible, I will bring your latter hazard. Latter hazard means I will pay you back the second loan and thankfully rest debtor for the first. And thankfully means gratefully, I will remain your debtor for the first loan. If I am not able to pay you back the first loan, then I will remain your debtor. Antonio, you know me well. He says, you are a very good friend of mine and you know me very well. And herein spend but time. And right now you are only wasting time to wind about my love with circumstance by talking about my love for you in such a complicated manner. Circumstance means in a complicated manner. And out of doubt, that is, and without doubt, or indeed, you do me now more wrong. You are doing wrong to me in making question of my uttermost, in doubting whether I will do everything possible for you or not. I will do everything that is within my reach. Than if you had made waste of all I have. I would not mind if you had made waste means if you destroyed all that I have. Then do but say to me what I should, that in your knowledge may be by me be done. He says, you simply tell me, only say that what should I do, or what according to you may be done by me. And I am pressed unto it, and I am ready to do it, therefore speak. So you only have to tell me what you want me to do for you. So Bassanio gives him the details. In Belmont is a lady richly left. He says that in Belmont there is a lady who has inherited a lot of wealth from her father. And she is fair, that is, she is beautiful, and fairer than the word. She is more beautiful than the word beautiful itself. The word beautiful cannot explain her beauty. Of wondrous virtues, she has wonderful qualities. Sometimes from her eyes I did receive fair speechless messages. So sometimes I have received unspoken messages from her eyes. Her name is Portia. Her name is Portia. Nothing undervalued to Cato's daughter Brutus's Portia. So she is in no way inferior to or less in value to Cato's daughter. Now Cato's daughter, children, here it is a reference made to another play of Shakespeare, that is Julius Caesar, in which there is a woman named Portia who is the daughter of Cato, who is a Roman statesman, and she is the wife of Brutus, who was a brave Roman general. So he says she is in no way inferior to the Portia of Julius Caesar. Nor is the wide world ignorant of her worth, and neither is the whole world unaware of her value. Means the whole world is aware of her great value. Why? For the four winds blow in from every coast renowned suitors. For means because from the four corners of the earth, renowned means well known suitors, young eligible bachelors are coming. And her sunny locks, that is her bright golden hair, hang on her temples like a golden fleece. They are hanging on the sides of her forehead like the golden fleece. Now this is another illusion which you have to do. It is reference is made to an old Greek legend. In this fleece, it refers to the wool on the body of a sheep or a ram. So a famous hero, whose name was Jason, along with his friends Argonauts, he went to a voyage on to Colchos. Now Colchos is on the eastern coast of the Black Sea, and there he went in order to get the golden fleece, which was tied to the trunk of an oak tree by the local ruler, and it was guarded by a dragon. So Jason managed to obtain it with the help of his wife Medea. So this allusion we need to do over here, because here Portia's golden hair is compared to the golden fleece, that is the crop of wool on the body of the sheep, which was at Belmont, which makes a seat of Belmont Colchos's strand. So Portia is in Belmont. She has a beautiful golden hair. So her house in Belmont becomes the Colchos shore, because it was on the shore of Colchos that the golden fleece was tied, where Jason went to get it. And many Jasons come in quest of her. And here Jasons are many adventurous suitors are coming to Belmont in quest of her, means in search of her. They are coming in order to try their luck at the lottery of caskets. Oh my Antonio, he says, oh my dear Antonio, had I but means to hold a rival place with one of them. He says, if I had the money, if I had the means to be a rival to any of these suitors, I have a mind presages me such thrift. That is, I have a mind means I have a strong instinct. Presages means which foretells me. Such thrift means profitable success. So my instinct foretells me that I will be successful. That is, I should questionless be fortunate. That is, I will definitely, without any doubt, be successful in choosing the correct casket. Antonio, last two lines. Thou knowest, you know that all my fortunes are at sea, neither have I money nor commodity. He says, you know very well that all my money, fortunes is all my money is at the sea. I have invested all my money on my ships. Neither have I money. Right now I do not have money nor commodity. Neither do I have any goods which I can sell and raise the amount which is needed. To raise a present sum, I don't have the goods to sell so that I can raise the required sum of money. Therefore go forth, therefore go out, try what my credit can in Venice do. You try to use my name, give them the money lenders my security and try to borrow money from them on my guarantee. That shall be racked even to the uttermost. So my credit can be my security, my credit can be stretched to the uttermost limit. To furnish thee to Belmont, to fair Portia. To furnish means to provide you whatever you require to go to Belmont, to beautiful Portia. Go presently inquire. Presently means at once. Go at once and find out, and so will I. And I will also do the same where money is. See where money is available, and I no question make to have it of my trust or my sake. And I will have no doubt that you will be able to borrow money either on my business credit or on my personal surety. I hope Act 1, Scene 1 is clear to you. In my next video, I will come with the explanation of Act 1, Scene 2. Thank you.